And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Jennifer Jacobs, who had a near-death experience while she was in her car, which we're going to learn about today and more. Jennifer, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Jennifer, let's start on the day that the NDE happened and go from there.
Okay. So it was May 11th of 2020. I was working at an animal hospital, and let me start by saying I've been in recovery for 18 years. I've had a lot of sober time, and I've had some slip-ups. And, this was around COVID time, and I had gotten really sick. And I got weak and I'd relapsed. And I got to a pretty low point. I remember I'd been up for a couple days and gone to work. I was afraid to miss and whatnot. I had no business at work, but I remember on my lunch break, so it's weird because I don't remember going anywhere else, but on my Snapchat, my location, it said I was roughly somewhere else in Memphis. But I specifically remember I'd gone behind this like vacant building, and I was sitting in my car, and I don't remember too much, but I just remember, I guess I died, and I saw myself in spirit, and I saw that I was looking down on the ambulance, and then I woke up in the hospital, and it was a pretty crazy experience. I didn't see my body. I just felt like I was spirit, and it was a pretty big eye opener for me. I remember after that praying, and I said, I promise I'll never do this drug again. I've got children and I do not want to die again. So it started it started quite a journey for me. I still had a road to go, but I had quit the fatal drug, basically. Yeah, so that was. I've got a few near-death experiences, but that was one.
Before we go there, you saw yourself in spirit, right?
Right.
So did you kind of like look down at your hands and they kind of look ghostly like or something?
I didn't see any of my body, or I didn't see anything. I just felt my soul, I guess, at soul level. No clothing, nothing. I just remember. So it's just kind of seeing out of your eyes,
Perhaps it was like you were just pure energy at that point.
Yes, correct.
But you did see the ambulance, you said, yes?
I did. I saw the ambulance. And I guess I saw my body, thinking about it now, and I know I hear a lot of people saying they had a choice, and I didn't hear any, yes or no or anything like that. But, I feel like I have a mission here, when I was 2 weeks old, my grandfather was holding me and he said, this child is special. And that's always kind of stuck with me. And, it's just, I feel like I'm here for a reason, and I've been through a lot in this lifetime, a lot of traumas, a lot of heartache. Um, I've probably lost around 20 people in this life. Um, a lot of them were very close to me. Um, and that's something else, in my story. I feel like God puts me in people's lives sort of at the end of their life, um, to maybe be a light before they die, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, and, it's pretty spiritual, and I didn't understand for a long time, um, because of the heartache. But, I can look back and I can be grateful that I was a part of their lives.
Can you recall what you were feeling when you were outside as a spirit and you saw the ambulance?
I don't remember much feeling. It was just bliss is coming to my head. It was just pure, and it's hard to describe. But I know it was peaceful. I wasn't afraid. Um, it was it's definitely an eye opener.
After that NDE, did you notice you had any new gifts that you didn't have prior?
After that, so I started painting a lot. And I will also say, um, after this happened, I kind of woke up and I sort of felt like a different person. I didn't feel the same. It took me about 3 years, to sort of start feeling like myself again. Um, but I took up painting and I took up playing guitar, and it was just it was a beautiful thing. I also was taking up some yoga, um, and I was sort of on this self self journey. Sort of beginning to learn who I was and start loving who I am, um, and so I found out that I was pretty artistically inclined, and I just kept at it, and it's a pretty cool thing, you know.
Has the memory of this experience faded over time?
Nope, it's very crystal clear. Um, I It's not a whole lot of detail, but it's just enough to remember how profound that moment was in my life. Um, it was definitely, excuse me, I definitely had a spiritual experience. Um, and I'll always remember that moment.
Have you ever checked your medical records to see if like as if you were dead and they had to revive you or anything like that?
I remember them. I know they had to Narcan me. Um, and so, um, you know, that, that to me says something. I was out to dinner last night and we were talking about this, and, um, I thought about maybe calling the hospital and asking them more details, to see maybe how long I was out for, or, just to find some additional information out. Um, but I do feel like I feel like I was gone. I do, and I That was one out of that I know 2 overdoses.
Mhm.
Um, and I have a picture of the other one. I was told of that one, but I can see it pretty clearly. Um, but they definitely told me that I was gone on that one too.
Would this experience that you had be anything like you would have while using drugs?
Absolutely not. No, no, no. This was. I mean, I was definitely. I was out. I was out of my body. I was gone from reality. This reality. You know. It was nothing like I've ever experienced in my life. Um, so no, I don't think it was drug or. I mean, obviously, I died from it, but no, it wasn't anything I'd ever experienced while I was using.
Can you describe the difference between this reality and then the one you experienced?
It's. I just felt. Uh, it wasn't a nothingness, but it was just being. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
I mean, I have a lot of experiences now with the spiritual realm, and I could go into depth a little bit about that.
Well, what other paranormal experiences have you had?
Well, you know, I started really experiencing things. Well, ever since I was a little girl, I can always remember feeling feeling energy, and it, you don't when you're a little girl, you don't really know what that is, but I know what that is now, and I've always just been a very sensitive person, um, very empathetic, very understanding with people. It's almost like I almost feel like I have experienced so many things that I can, like I do readings and things now. And it's almost like I'm able to do that because I've experienced so many things and I can see it in other people. Um, but 11 months ago, um, my boyfriend, who I believe was a soulmate, he was shot and killed. And, we were inseparable. We were never apart. Um, I was actually pistol whipped that same day. And I remember running off and leaving away from him. And he was shot that night. Um, and I can remember I had this horrible gut feeling, and I kept telling him something bad is going to happen, something bad is going to happen. And I just felt it in my soul. And, recently across the street, um, I guess it's gang related or something, but there was a guy, 2 guys, and I remember going. We used to hang out at this apartment across the street from my house, and my boyfriend lived across the street. And this guy, 2 guys, they were beat and they had horrible things just happen. I mean, I remember walking into that apartment across the street and it looked like bloodbaths everywhere. I mean, it was so horrible. They were tortured and they were beaten other horrible things that I'd heard, and all this over, I guess, $25,000. Um, they they put a gun to his head, took him to the bank, and made him deposit that money. Um, and after that, I think knowing what happened and probably knowing who did it, that may have been a reason for Shamara's death. And I think they were trying to scare me, and they pistol whipped me, and it was sort of like a warning, maybe. But we, after that experience, I went to rehab for 3 months, and I just, I was done with everything. I was done, and I went to rehab, and I knew I was sort of in a psychosis, if you will, and um, I kept saying to the doctor, they shot my boyfriend, but he's not dead, but he was dead, and it took me about 2 months to really come to the realization that he was really gone. But I felt him. I can't explain the feeling other than I felt his spirit. After that happened, I started really connecting more spiritually, to the spiritual realm, and I would walk past lights in the hospital, and I remember the nurses like freaking out because the lights would flicker every time I would walk past the lights, and the nurses would freak out, and I just knew in my head, I was like, this is Shamara's, and I would start like weird things like in my bathroom. It was just me, in the one room, and I would see like little, look like chin hairs, like his black little hairs. I started feeling tapping, and I feel that a lot to this day. Um, and
What do you mean by feeling tapping?
it feels like somebody's just tapping you on the shoulder, or wherever it is, leg, shoulder. Um, it even happens. I have a daughter, and so um, my daughter and her best friends, they live next door. And my niece's name, it's Hope, Grace, Love, Faith, and Envy. That's their names. Well, Envy, um, she's been telling me lately, and I believe her. She's the sweetest little girl, and she's like, we have this thing, and she's like, Red's been tapping me, and like he pulled my hair, and I don't know, like, um, they're all into like the paranormal as well, and they watch all the little ghost things on YouTube and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I just I'll feel taps. I always see flickering lights, and this sort of opened me up. And I started getting on groups on Facebook, about mediumship and um, readings and stuff like that. And so I had a few, people, I had some mediumship stuff done with them, and you know, uh, so I, I really, I believe that I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient. Um, like I said, since I was a kid, I've always been very sensitive to energy. And after Shamira's died, like, and I also want to say I've been drug free for 11 months. So,
It's great.
thank you. And so I've been sort of finding these abilities, and I've given so many people like spot on readings. And I was actually at the grocery store a couple days ago, and I've known this woman for maybe 7, 8 years. But I run into her at the grocery store, and I made a, a, a Facebook page called Hope Rising, and it kind of goes more into depth my readings and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that," and she was interested in, and I kept hearing the word dad, 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 and I told her, I said, "I keep hearing dad. Does that mean anything to you?" And she started tearing up, and she said, "My dad died 5 years ago. I had no idea, you know." And she just, the joy, the joy that I get from just being able to be a vessel, to help others, through their grieving process is, you know, maybe that's a part of my purpose here today. Um, for a long time, I knew that I was going to be telling my story and AA and all that kind of stuff, and all that, but I knew there was something more like deeper than that too. Um, and it also, helping others with their grief sort of helps me with mine too.
Well, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
I am.
What's the best way to reach you?
Like I said, I have a group on Facebook. It's called Hope Rising. I can contact me there. I guess can I say my name?
Sure, of course. I mean, yeah.
My name is Jennifer Jacobs. You can contact me on Facebook.
Jennifer, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Always keep going, no matter what, no matter how hard life gets. Just keep pushing. I think everyone is here for a reason. Nobody's a mistake. We're all here to learn, I think. And if you feel like you just can't get it right or keep messing up, just keep going. Just get back up again. Get back up.
Excellent message. Thank you for it, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.